The galactic war room was filled with noise, light, and pride. Dozens of alien generals stood around a large round table, each one confident, each one laughing. They stared at a floating screen showing images of Earth's newest soldiers, and an alien commander, tall with blue skin and shining armor, pointed and laughed. "Are these your fighters?" he said loudly. Gray hair, wrinkled faces, slow steps. "Are you sending us old farmers now?" The others burst into laughter. One pounded the table. Another said, "They look ready for the grave, not for battle." The room echoed with cruel joy. The galaxy had seen Earth lose many young soldiers in the early months of the war. The Alien Alliance believed the humans had no more fighters, left only the old and weak, but far away. Deep under Earth's surface, in a silent and cold command bunker, one man watched the same footage. Colonel Ron. His face was sharp, his silver hair cut close, and his eyes were dangerous. "They've no idea what's coming," he whispered to himself. He stood and looked at the row of empty chairs around him. Those seats once held Heroes War legends, now forgotten. Until today, Colonel Ron pressed a button on the wall. A voice echoed through Earth's secret channels. "Activate Elder Unit. Operation Phoenix is live." Across the Earth, alarms buzzed. In quiet homes, deep forests, and lonely mountaintops. Old warriors woke up. Some had been farmers, some teachers, some simple grandparents, but they all had one thing in common. They were trained killers. In a small cabin in the Alaskan woods, a man with a long beard opened a dusty crate. Inside it lay a glowing badge, a combat knife, and a photo of him standing with his old squad. He smiled. Finally, he whispered, "They remembered us." In Tokyo, a woman in her 70s put away her knitting. She pressed her finger to a scanner hidden in the wall. A door slid open, revealing weapons and gear from another life across the world. The elders rose not slow, not weak, but focused, silent, and ready. They boarded black ships that rose into the sky like shadows. No speeches, no goodbyes, only mission. The galaxy didn't see them coming. On the planet Varnak, a war zone burned with smoke and screams. Alien soldiers marched proudly through the wreckage. Their commanders shouted, "Earth is finished. Their children are dead, and now only their elders remain." Suddenly, a scout ran into camp, out of breath. "Something's wrong," he said. "Outpost 7 has gone silent." The commander frowned. "Sent a drone." They sent one. It didn't return. Soon, another scout came running. "Sir, Base 9-2. All communication is gone. No signs of attack, no, just silence." That night, wind blew through empty tents. Fires burned low. And from the darkness, eyes watched. A guard patrolling near the edge heard a soft sound, a whisper maybe. He turned, but saw nothing. Then he turned again. A gloved hand pulled him into the shadows. The next morning, the camp was gone, not destroyed, not burned, just gone. The grass was untouched. The sky was blue, but no soldier remained, only a message carved into the dirt. "We are not young, but we are yours no more." The Galactic Council met in emergency session. Reports were flooding in, bases disappearing, elite alien squads wiped out without warning, cameras going dark, ships vanishing mid-flight, and always no bodies, no sounds, no clues, just silence. A young alien analyst stood shaking as he spoke. We think Earth sent a stealth force. But the movement patterns, the tactics, the speed 8s, not possible. We've never seen anything like it." An older alien general stood. "It's the Elder Unit," he said slowly. "They weren't myths after all." Gasps filled the chamber. "I read about them," he continued. "Back during the siege of Mars, they fought with no fear. They never surrendered, and they vanished before the war ended." "I thought they were all dead." "They are," whispered another. "Or they were supposed to be, but Earth had awakened them." Back on the war front, an alien warlord named Grath stood on the battlefield, waiting. He had mocked humans before, called them soft and emotional. He wore a necklace made from human metals. Now he stood alone, had been the largest on the Eastern Front. Now he was the only one left. He stared into the trees. "Come out?" "Humans," he said. "Face me," a whisper answered. "We already did." Suddenly, something hit him. Fast, silent. He dropped to the ground. Not dead, but paralyzed. From the shadows, 5 figures walked forward, wrinkled, silent, but with eyes sharp as knives. They stood over him. One bent down. "War isn't about age," she said. "It's about will." They turned and vanished into the mist, leaving the warlord shaking on the ground. Colonel Ron stood again in Earth's War Command. Reports filled, the screens, systems failing, alien leadership collapsing. Still, he didn't smile. He opened a private feed. "Phase 2, he said. "Clean the core systems. Leave no trace." Across the stars, the Elder unit moved like ghosts. Silent, deadly, unseen, and wherever they passed, alien armies gave up. Some dropped weapons and ran. Others surrendered without a fight. Entire war zones became empty fields. Back at the Galactic Council, one final message arrived. It came from an old Earth satellite. A short video played. Colonel Ron appeared on screen. "You thought our age made us weak," he said calmly. "But you forgot who taught the young to fight." He stared into the camera. "We were the first blades. We are the last shadows. And now we're your lesson." Then the screen went black. Weeks later, peace talks began. Earth sent only one representative, Colonel Raan, no bodyguards, no army. Just him. He walked into the Galactic Hall. All the alien leaders stood. He didn't speak for a long time. Then he said just one sentence. "Next time, ask before you laugh." And with that, he turned and left. The galaxy would never forget what Earth's oldest had done. They were not warriors of the future. They were legends of the past. And they had just written the future in silence. The desert sky of Coruscant was blood-red by dawn. Heat shimmered off the rocks, and alien soldiers marched under twin suns. The war here had been simple: crush Earth's resistance, secure the minerals, and move on. But something felt different today. Velk, commander of the alien battalion, stood on a ridge, watching his troops set up camp. Drones buzzed above. Turrets were placed. Sensors activated. Still, he felt the silence. "Where's Outpost 4? Velk asked his communications officer. "Still not responding, sir. Might be equipment failure." "That's what you said about Outpost 3. And 2, send a recon squad." Squad left at full speed. They never returned. Velk narrowed his eyes. "Send the drone." The drone flew over the ridge, its cameras showing nothing unusual. But halfway through its flight, the feed went black dot, just static. Then one frame flashed back on screen. Just one, a wrinkled face, calm eyes like stone. Then it vanished. The whole command post froze. "Who was that?" whispered a soldier. Velk didn't answer. He had heard rumors, quiet ones, of the Elder unit. He had laughed at them before now. He wasn't laughing. On the outer edge of the battlefield, shadows moved between dunes. 5 old humans crept through the alien perimeter like wind through grass. Their steps made no sound. Their faces showed no fear. They wore light armor and carried weapons most hadn't seen in decades. But they used them like artists painting death. One of them, an old woman named Commander Hale, paused and held up a hand. The other stopped. A patrol of alien guards approached from the left. Loud, confident, careless. Hale whispered, "I'll take 3, you take the other 2. They nodded. 10 seconds later, the aliens were gone. No shots, no blood, just gone. The Elder unit moved on. In the Coruscant command center, panic was growing. "Sir Baz, 6 gone. No damage, no bodies, just missing." Velk's voice shook. "How? What kind of enemy is this?" A tech officer turned slowly. Her face was pale. "We picked up one audio clip before the signal cut off. Play it." A deep, calm voice came through the speakers. "We are the silence before the storm. We are the past that never died, then nothing." Velk stood frozen. "We're not fighting soldiers," he said. "We're fighting ghosts." One alien survivor was found near the cliffs, covered in dust, hands shaking. He had been part of a supply convoy ambushed in the night. "They didn't speak," he cried. "They didn't shout. They just appeared." He grabbed the collar. Of the medic helping him, they looked like elders. Old, slow, but they moved faster than my eyes could follow. The medic thought he was mad. But when they returned to the ambush site, all they found was a single human medallion buried in. The sand dot engraved on it were the words, Age is a number. Death is a promise. We just deliver early. Night fell. The alien camp burned extra lights. Guards doubled. Turrets turned in circles. Drones flew non-stop, but fear was already inside the camp. A soldier named Reth kept glancing behind him. Every sound made him jump. Every flicker made his heart race. He turned to his friend. "I can't do this, Farn. I think they're already here. Don't be stupid. It's just nerves." "No," Reth whispered. "It's something else. Like they're watching." Suddenly, a flare shot up in the distance. Then another dot, then another. The camp scrambled. Screams echoed from the south. Wall dot, then silence. Velk grabbed his rifle. "Hold your positions," he yelled. "Don't let the old ghosts scare you." But his voice shook. He knew. Deep inside, he knew. They weren't ghosts. They were humans. Trained killers. Forgotten legends. And they were already inside. In the chaos, Hale and her team walked through the camp like shadows. They avoided cameras, disabled alarms, moved like wind through cracks. Each target was chosen. Each attack silent, clean, fast. Commander was taken from his bed. A fuel depot shut down without a spark. By morning, the camp was dead. Not destroyed, not destroyed, not bombed, just empty. The only thing left behind was a coded message carved into a steel wall. "You thought we were retired. You were wrong." Back at the Galactic Council, panic turned to fear. "This is war without rules," shouted one ambassador. "They're too old to be this dangerous." Another cried. A strategist stood and showed footage of what little had been recorded. 5 figures, moving fast, precise, no wasted steps, no fear, no weakness. "These aren't just old soldiers," she said. "They're masters. They've lived through wars we only read about." The room fell silent. A leader from the Drax Empire stood. "I say we surrender now," he said. Everyone turned to him. He raised his hands. "Because if they can do this now, what happens when Earth sends more?" Back on Earth, Colonel Ron watched the live feed as Velk's base went dark. No noise, no flames, just silence. He nodded. "Elder Unit extraction," he ordered. The message was sent. Above Cora 6, a ship appeared completely black. No lights. It didn't land. It hovered. Ropes dropped down into the sand. The Elder Unit rose silently, vanishing into the ship like smoke. By the time alien reinforcements arrived, there was nothing left but sand. And one last message, drawn in the dust with a boot. "This was your warning." The war was changing. The galaxy no longer feared Earth's new weapons or young soldiers. Now, they feared something far older, something wiser, something unstoppable. Earth's oldest had returned to the battlefield, and the stars would never be the same again. The Galactic Council Hall, usually loud with debate and pride, was silent. Alien leaders sat still, pale, and shaking. A giant screen showed what was left of the Cora 6 battlefield. Nothing. No bodies, no buildings. Just dust and symbols scratched into stone. Symbols Earth never explained. "They walked through our best defenses," said Supreme Commander Yal, his voice weak. "No ships, no warning, just ... silence." A whisper moved through the room. The Elder Unit. It had been days since anyone had heard from General Velk's forces. The silence spread. First one system, then another. Entire moons with heavy defenses empty. "We underestimated them," said Councillor Drayle, leader of the Varnak Empire. "We thought humans were done. We thought age made them weak." He looked up. "We were wrong." The council voted in fear. For the first time in galactic history, all major empires agreed. Contact Earth, beg for peace. A message was sent. It was never answered. Deep in space, aboard an invisible cruiser, Colonel Ron stood with arms crossed. His face was unreadable. A young Earth officer walked in, nervous. "Sir, the council is asking for talks. Immediate peace. Full surrender." Ron didn't blink. "They're too late." Ron turned slowly. "Do you think the Elder Unit needs permission now?" he asked. They were already moving. Before the council even knew what fear was. Outside the ship, black shuttles launched. Silent, fast, no flags. Heart of the council's weapons division, alarms screamed. Engineers ran through tunnels, trying to hide experimental war machines, secret prototypes, illegal weapons. Then the lights died. Backup power, someone yelled, but no backup came instead. Through the glass of the control room, 5 old humans appeared. No armor, just black suits and cold eyes. Security teams rushed in with rifles. They didn't even get the chance to fire. 1 second later, nothing. The control room was empty. Again, no blood. Buried the past deeper. Back on Earth, a private communication buzzed. The president of Earth picked it up. The face of a council leader appeared. "Please," the alien said. "We didn't know. We didn't mean to insult them. You're old ones. They're destroying everything." The president didn't smile. Her voice was calm. "You called them weak. You laughed at their age." The alien's voice cracked. "Call them back. Stop this. We'll agree to anything." She looked at the camera. "They don't take orders from us anymore, not during cleanup." She ended the call. On the moon of Trelos, a secret weapon factory exploded without warning. No missiles, no attack. Security cameras, right before going dark, showed one thing: an elderly man placing a single metal cube on the wall. He smiled, nodded at the camera, then disappeared. Alien engineers tried to explain it. "It's impossible," they said. He walked through plasma walls and vanished. Across the stars, messages appeared on enemy screens, all written in the same simple text: "This is not revenge. This is correction." The elders weren't hunting. They were erasing. Back at the council hall, another meeting began. Drill stood slowly. "We have no more time. I propose we leave the core planets, abandon our systems, go dark." "You're saying we run," another alien shouted. "I'm saying we hide, from ghosts, from shadows, from old humans who no longer care about peace." Just then, a screen flickered to life. Colonel Ron's face appeared. The room went dead quiet. "No need to run," he said. "The elders don't want your planets. They don't want your power." He leaned closer. "They just want you to remember who taught the galaxy how to fight." The screen cut, gasps, and whispers filled the air. "What does that mean?" someone asked. No one knew, but the war was no longer about weapons or ships. It was now about memory. The galaxy had forgotten Earth's history, forgotten who had survived, the blood wars, the collapse, and the plague eras. Now the elders were writing it, again on fire, dust, and fear. On an unmarked asteroid near Council Space, a final base was discovered. It held ancient records, war crimes, secret plans, hidden betrayal. The Elder Unit entered. Inside, they found what Earth had long suspected, that Council had planned the war decades earlier. Earth wasn't attacked by accident. It was a test, a slow genocide disguised as galactic peacekeeping. "Commander." Hale stood over the records, quiet. Her voice shook. "They never wanted peace. They wanted our extinction." Her second in command, the old man from Alaska, nodded. "Then let's give them a legacy they'll never forget." Hours later, all galactic council systems went offline. Every server, every weapon grid, every ship command link .wiped. One final message was broadcast to every screen, every terminal, every planet. "We are the forgotten. You tried to erase us. Now you remember. We are here to finish the silence. You started, then the stars went quiet. No broadcasts, no messages, no threats, only fear. Earth had never sent an army. It had sent a warning, and now the galaxy knew when the young fall. There is no place to hide." A cold mist rolled over the shattered ruins of Veltrax Prime, once the most powerful weapons world in the galaxy. Now it was silent. Dead, no alarms, no patrols, just dust, flickering lights, and broken metal. A young alien cadet named Learn stood alone, rifle shaking in his hands. His unit was gone, wiped out without a single shot fired. He had heard the whispers before: "If you hear nothing, run." But now it was too late. Through the fog he saw a movement, not fast, not loud, just a single human figure, gray hair, calm, steps, a long coat fluttering in the wind. Learn aimed his rifle, hands trembling. "Stop," he shouted. "I'll shoot." The human didn't flinch. He didn't even reach for a weapon. He just knelt down in the dirt and opened a small pouch. From it, he pulled a flower. He planted it in the cracked soil, patted the ground gently, then stood and saluted. Then, without a word, he walked away and vanished into the fog. Learn didn't move. He didn't shoot. He just stared at the tiny flower. Blooming in the ash dot, he didn't know what it meant, but the message was clear. It was over, and yet it had only begun. The Galactic Council was finished. Most of its leaders had fled. Systems were dark. Their fleets were gone, shut down from inside, not destroyed. Disabled, disarmed, defeated, not by bombs, not by armies, by a unit of soldiers too old for war. The Elder unit had erased the war without starting one. Back on Earth, Colonel Ron stood. Before a large screen showing a galaxy map, dozens of enemy systems were marked as cleared. One of his officers walked in. "Sir," she said, "they're returning the Elders. Every single one." Ron's eyes widened. Casualties? None. Ron stepped back, silent. After everything they'd done, every mission, every one had fallen, they were legends once. Now, they were immortal in history. The black ships returned home with no sound, no celebration, no crowds. That's how the Elder unit preferred it. Commander Hale stepped onto Earth's soil, removed her gloves, and looked up at the sky. She could hear birds. She could smell grass. Peace. A young soldier ran up to her. "Ma'am," they say, "the galaxy surrendered. You did it. You ended the war." Hale looked at him with tired eyes. "No," she said softly. "We reminded them." "Reminded them of what?" She smiled faintly. "Of who we are." A few days later, the galaxy received a final transmission. It came from Earth, but not from its government. It came from the Elder unit. The message played in every language, on every screen. Colonel Ron appeared this time not in uniform, but in plain clothes. His voice was calm. "We were not sent to destroy. We were sent to end the lie. You started this war thinking humans were easy prey. You forgot who survived before you ever reached the stars. The young fight for pride, the old fight for peace. And now, we've bought you that peace. Don't waste it." Then the screen changed. Hundreds of faces appeared. Human eldersmen and women, lined with age, eyes full of storms. Below them, one line glowed. "This is our final gift, memory." Across the galaxy, things began to change. Old warriors from other species came forward. Inspired by Earth's elders, they began sharing stories, teaching instead of fighting, rebuilding instead of ruling. Statues of young champions were replaced with monuments to quiet strength, wisdom, and sacrifice. On one world, an alien child asked her grandfather, "Were humans always that strong?" He nodded. "They still are, but now they've learned when not to show it." Back on Earth, in a small house on a hill, Commander Hale sat on a wooden bench. She was knitting again. The wind blew softly. Footsteps approached young cadets, wide-eyed and nervous. One spoke. "Ma'am, the Academy has asked if you'd teach, you and the others." Hale looked at them. Her hands paused. She nodded. "Then let's begin." In the end, the Elder unit didn't just fight a war. They ended one. Not with louder weapons, but with deeper silence. Not with fear, but with reminders. And the galaxy would never forget again, because now they knew the truth. When Earth's old ones rise, it is not the beginning of war, but the end of everything that needed one.